Okay, I'm gonna start recording. I'm not gonna sound ridiculous this time when I go, hi everyone, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna go to the CAD, the stuff called CAD stuff. I'm gonna copy my window. And when I copy it, I'm gonna copy it from this midpoint. So there's the midpoint. And when I throw it in, I wanna put it in something like this. All these numbers should be round. So I'm gonna redraw this wall. I'm gonna make it maybe 9 feet. Let's call this a bedroom. So 9 feet from there, I'm going to offset that wall 3.5. So this is how I draw as I'm constantly offsetting. Say it's 9 by 11, I'm going to go 11 feet. And I'm going to offset that 11 feet, then offset that wall 3.5. Then trim, 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 all that fun stuff. So I'm going to do this. Didn't work. I'm going too quick. There we go. So this is my bedroom. To make a closet, the interior depth of a closet is 2 feet. It is not more than that. That's a waste of space. And then this is another 3.5-inch wall. The width of that closet, I'm going to make 6 feet. You can kind of make closet widths like anything you want. Usually 5 feet or 6 feet. Actually, that's too big. So I'm going to move that and make it only 5 feet. Move that back this way. And it's 5 feet from outside to outside. I'm going to put a quick dimension on that. That is 5 feet. So I'm going to offset that wall in 3.5. And then trim all this up. So these little lines that I'm left with, I do those later. So all these little goofy things, I just clean that stuff up later. And then I also always draw on one line. So this window here, I want to put it on a midpoint. So I'm going to draw a line from here to here and find the midpoint of that, and then just draw a line down like this. And this is how I can start to locate the center of that window. Now I know the window is located on the center of this. I could have also trimmed that exterior wall like this, and now I know that I would have been on the center of that wall. So bedrooms, you generally want to center your windows on it. Something I did for you is I provided you with a little white line right here. So these white lines that are going through my drawing, I don't want them to go through the window. So later on, when I'm very confident, I'm going to use the trim command. And I'm going to use the blue box just to select that little white line. Then I'm going to get rid of those white lines so that now these white walls come and they stop. And if you look at my sample set, you'll see that they stop and then they have this little return. That little white line right there is the return. If you want to copy this window and put it in somewhere else, we can just copy it over, rotate it. I always want my text to be, in not that orientation. I always want my text to be in an orientation like this. It's snapping somewhere. It's snapping to something in the world. There. And then I'm going to trim this. So if I trim that line, I know that I now have the midpoint of this line. So I can just move my window right in there from the midpoint right onto that midpoint. And I've got it. And then I would trim it. Use the blue box to select the white line. Now trim all those lines in behind, and now those lines go away. If I want to make this window bigger, what command are you using to do that? Stretch 1, 2. Stretch is always the green box. It's never this box. It's never, I use S for stretch. It's never that box. It doesn't work because it has to be the green box. So you stretch it like this. And I'm going to make this window 5 feet now. And I'm going to make it 12 inches larger that way. I can click on here, use my properties box, and see that it's 5 feet and it is 0 degrees. So I know it's a straight line. At the same time, since I used stretch, those walls went smaller at the same time. So kind of nice. How do you edit the text? You double click on it. And then you go and you just turn it into a 5, and that's how you edit your text. Double click and then just go into the box. So double click like this, edit that box. If it's a 6 foot wide window, you just do this. So you only need one little piece of text and you keep editing that thing. When I put the doors in, I'm going to grab this door. I'm going to copy it. You see it's got the little white lines on it too, which is really nice. They might seem annoying now, but they're actually quite good. I'm going to turn the ortho off so it's not straight. And then I'm going to mirror this thing. I want this door, I always want my door to swing against the wall. Put the ortho back on, which is down there. You delete the source object. Why am I being such a nut? It's snapping to stuff. Got to straighten that out. Delete the source object, yes. And then when I put this door in, some of you have it sitting like this, which is kind of funny. You're doing that, don't do that. Do this. And hope it's the right size. I'm going to put it right in there. Now, how far is this door away from that wall? 3 inches. It's called the minimum return is 3 inches. So I've moved it 3 inches off. And then there's no wall there, right? Because that's the door swing. So I'm going to trim like that. Now that thing is all. And that little white line being there is nice when we do line weights. There's your 2/6 door. People asked about bifolds. So I'm going to trim this. This line here is 4'8". So how big would my door be in a 4'8" wide closet? Kind of maximum, right? You don't want any stuff hid off to the side. So if it's 4'8", how big would you make the doors? 4 feet. You're going to make a round number. Here's what I would do to make bifolds. I'm going to draw a little line in the middle of that. Then I'm going to offset it 24 and offset it 24. And then I'm going to trim that. Ooh, that's kind of weird. What happened there? I'm going to trim this and erase that center piece. Now it's a 4 foot wide door. Here's how I make, Abby, pay attention. We were talking about this yesterday. Just kidding. I'm going to make a bifold. So how thick is the door? How thick is this door? It's 1 inch, right? And then if I make bifolds and it's 4 feet, how big is each fold? Bobby, how big is each fold? Kind of, but how big is that individual little door? How many of them are there? There's 4, right? So I have this little thing that's open like this, and I'm gonna make a door that looks like this. So there are 4 leaves in a bifold. So the opening's 4 feet, so how big is each leaf? 1 foot, can't fool you. So someone asked, how do I draw bifolds? I go 12, 1. Do I draw 4 of them? Goodness, no. Now I rotate them, and I rotate it 45 degrees, and then I mirror that right there. And then I take this thing, put it on the right layer, match properties to a really nice layer, and then I'm going to move it in place. Maybe I'll show you how to print tomorrow. And I do that. So now I have one bifold. See when the bifold closes, it goes inside the door? Not like this. Don't do that, because when that closes now, it's proud of the door. So I want it to be inside. So I'm going to undo that. What would you do with this one here now? How would you get this over there? Yeah, you can either mirror or copy. Copy is actually probably a bit better here, but let's copy it. Get that endpoint, endpoint, endpoint. There it is. That's a bifold. And then you label that as a 4 foot bifold door. To label it, copy this text, rotate it. When you have text, if you click on it, this thing here is called a grip. And you can grab that grip and move it to where you want to go. So I'm just gonna make a line right there right now. Then I'm gonna grab that grip and just move it up to that spot and then erase that line. So sometimes I draw a line just to move something into place. I don't like where that is, so I'm just gonna move it, put it in here. And I would call that, I don't ever put the height of interior doors. I'm gonna call that a 4 foot bifold. And you might wanna use all caps if you want. So there's some of that. Toilet sinks, we're good, everybody? Sinks, all that, fridges, stoves, tubs. Yeah? Okay, text up, oh, room sizes. Here's how I do a room size. I copy the text. I'm gonna grab it, turn off my ortho, bring it on down here. How do I get the room size? I do it a dumb way. I draw a line on a diagonal, and then I click on it, and when I click on that line, my match props box tells me how big that thing is. So I just draw a diagonal. And then the nice thing about this text is, watch this. I'll post this video so I know I'm going at light speed. See how that text, now the grip is in the center? So what I'll do is I'll select that text, select that line, and I take that grip to that midpoint. And now I know I'm in the center of the room. And I really like putting it at the center of the room. I'm going to redo all that because Hannah looks confused. And if Hannah's confused, I know everybody is because she's like right on top of things in the front row. I'm going to draw a line across in the small part. I know my bedroom is 9 feet by 8'9", a little tight. That 8'9" is, do not write 8.5. No one cares. Round it to a better number. So this bedroom is 9 feet by 8'9". I'm going to grab that text. I'm going to move it on over, and then I'm going to highlight both. I'm going to highlight this line, which gives me the center grip. I'm going to highlight that text, which gives me the center grip, and I'm going to move it right there. 9 by 8'9", right? I think it's 9 feet by 8'9", and it's not a kitchen, it's a bedroom. And I like small font because I think I'm trendy and cool. Last thing I want to show you is a dimension. So I have one here for you. I'm just going to copy it. And it's not snapping to that. That's okay. I'm going to use dimensions like this. So I've snapped this dimension into place. Now I can just go grab it. This little dot at the end of the dimension is the thing that you grab. I'm going to shorten this. See this little dot right there. Do you see it? That's the grip that you grab when you change dimensions. So this dimension works. It's going to be a size that's really nice. It's very nice, as the kids might say, or Borat might say if you're a big Borat fan. I'm actually going to dimension. I'm gonna dimension here a little bit. I'm going to get rid of my section line. Hi, Ren. Hi, Ren. I'm just a little bit behind, as I am every single day. So when you guys put your first dimension string on there, it doesn't work. It's a tiny little number. It's all goofy. But here's what you can do. If you have that one dimension string that works, you just go match that property. So if this one works, I'm going to put it on that one. Now your dimensions will work. Here's the other thing I want everyone to do. I want you to type in dim. And you see dim sty pops up? That's what the kids might say. Click on dim sty. And then when you get there, do you see the one called catalyst? Click on that, set it to current. Now all your dimensions will work. Now, if you're like Emma yesterday, I'm just kidding, Emma. She didn't paste the dimension string in yet. You have to have pasted my dimension string in. And if you did, you'll have catalyst. Click on catalyst, hit set current, close that, and now all of your dimensions will be my string. And now as you're dimensioning, I'm going to dimension from here to, oh, I can't find the center of that door. Okay, let's draw a fake line. We can actually dimension to the center of that opening. And I can pull it out here. And then here's another thing. So I use dimension linear there. Now I'm going to go up here to annotate and hit continue. And now I can go like this. Watch this. I can go. And it just pulls them all out. It just goes click, 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 click. Because the first time I used linear, I'm going to do this again. The first time I used linear. And I went from here to here. Well, now it'll start there. So if I go annotate, continue, it'll start from that point and it'll go to there and there and there and there. If you're getting really goofy numbers like this, you need to move your walls. You need to move your walls. Don't change the dimension or anything, just move your walls. That's how we dimension. Questions, concerns, comments, thoughts?